This problem that we're going to work on involves the algebra concept of inverse variation. And when we're talking about variation, what we're talking about is looking at what happens to one variable as the other variable changes. And we're looking at constant variation. So in direct variation, as one variable goes up, as the value of one variable goes up, the value of the other variable also goes up. In inverse variation, the opposite is true. As the value of one variable goes up, so as x increases in value, y decreases in value. So they vary in the opposite direction, which is what the inverse refers to. So when we're thinking about the inverse variation formula, it's going to involve a fraction where one variable is up in a numerator and the other is in the denominator that denotes that inverse variation. So when we look at the standard formula for inverse variation, the standard formula is y equals k over x to some power n. That's the standard formula for inverse variation. So you'll see that as y increases, as x increases, x is in the denominator. As the denominator gets larger and larger, the total value of this fraction actually gets smaller and smaller, and so as x increases, y decreases. For example, when x goes, if you had 1/2 versus 1/4, as x goes from 2 to 4, 1/4 is a smaller number because the x is a 4 than 1/2 is. So using this formula, we're going to work on solving this problem here. So we have two variables, y and x, and k is the constant of variation. Now the first thing is we look in this question, we have a varies inversely as b cubed. If a equals 9/2 when b equals 2, find a when b equals 3. Well, in order to find a when b equals 3, we need to know what the constant of variation is. So we're going to first use the information in the first part of the question here to find out what our constant of variation is, and then we can plug that back into the formula when b equals 3 to find out what a is. So rather than use our variables in the standard formula of y and x, we're going to convert these to the variables that we have. So we know that a varies inversely as b cubed. Okay, so in this case, our y is a, our x, it becomes a b, and the n is a 3 because we're talking about b cubed. So in the first step, we need to find k. So we're going to take this formula, and in the first part of the problem it gives us a value for a, it gives us a value for b, so we're going to use those to solve for k. So let's fill in those values. So when a equals 9/2, that equals k over b, which is 2, cubed. Alright, so we've filled all those in, so now what we need to do is solve for k. So first we'll simplify the 2 cubed and we'll say 9 over 2 equals k over 2 cubed, which is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. And now in order to solve this, we're trying to get k by itself. So we're going to multiply both sides by 8. The 8 is in the denominator here. So if I multiply this side by 8, and if it helps, you can think of it as 8 over 1, that's going to help us eliminate the 8 on that side, and if we're going to do that on one side, we have to do it on the other side as well. So on the right hand side, we have this 8 divided by 8, which equals 1, so I'm left with just k. And then we need to do this side of the equation on the left. Well, I can reduce here because I know that 8 equals 2 times 4. 2 divided by 2 is 1, which just leaves me with the 4. And so I'm left with 4 times 9, which is 36. So I now know that my constant of variation, k, equals 36. And I can use that now to solve the second step of the problem, which is to answer this question: find A when B equals 3. So for the second step of the problem, we're going to come back to this A equals K over B cubed and fill in that formula with the numbers that we have. So find A. We don't know what A is, so we still have A. A equals K over B cubed. Well, we just found K is 36. And now in this relationship, B is 3, but again to the third power. And now we need to simplify that to find out what A equals. So A equals 36. Now let's simplify 3 to the third power. 3 to the third power is 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27. And we want to, the answer is asking for it as an integer or a fraction, and it's always good practice to reduce and simplify our fractions. So we have a common factor here in both of these of 9, so I can rewrite 36 as 4 times 9, and I can rewrite 27 as 3 times 9. 9 divided by 9 is 1, so that just leaves me with the 4 over 3. So A equals 4/3.